Varieties of salads. They've got desserts. They've got the in-store meat pies. It's Calgary and Southern Alberta's Consumer's Choice Award winner, Best Meat and Deli for 26 consecutive years. 28 Crowfoot Circle.
June 26th, 2015. The hockey world wasn't waiting to find out who would be selected first overall. Everyone already knew. Inside the arena, cameras were locked on one teenager. Fans in Edmonton were holding their breath. And when the Oilers stepped to the podium and announced Connor McDavid as the first pick in the NHL draft, it felt less like a selection and more like a turning point. For Edmonton, this was supposed to be the beginning of a new era. After years of disappointment, failed rebuilds, and endless promises about the future, they finally had the player every franchise dreams about. A once-in-a-generation talent capable of changing everything. And over the next decade, McDavid did exactly that. He became the face of the NHL. He became the player every defenseman feared, and every coach had nightmares preparing for. Night after night, season after season, he produced at a level that almost stopped feeling real. The speed, the vision, the scoring. At times it looked like he was playing a completely different sport than everyone else on the ice. But there has always been one uncomfortable reality hanging over this entire story. Individual greatness only goes so far, because no matter how many points Connor McDavid scores, no matter how many awards he wins, his legacy will always be connected to one question. Can Edmonton win a Stanley Cup with him? And right now, that question feels bigger than ever. The Oilers entered the 2026 playoffs with expectations through the roof. This wasn't a rebuilding team anymore. This wasn't a group still figuring things out. They had already reached consecutive Stanley Cup finals. They had one of the best players in hockey history at the peak of his powers. The roster looked capable of making another deep run. Instead, everything unraveled almost immediately. A first-round exit against the Anaheim Ducks sent shockwaves through the hockey world. The disappointment wasn't just about losing. It was about what the loss represented. Because every playoff failure now gets viewed through the same lens. How much longer will Connor McDavid be willing to wait? That's why what happened next caught so many people off guard. 4 months, fans, analysts, and rival organizations have been speculating about McDavid's future. The assumption has been simple. If Edmonton doesn't win soon, eventually he'll leave. The theory gained even more momentum after he signed a shorter extension rather than committing long-term. To many observers, that contract looked like a warning. A message: show me this organization can finish the job. But then, one of the most connected voices around the Oilers dropped a statement that completely challenged that narrative. Bob Stauffer recently shared his belief that Connor McDavid remains deeply committed to Edmonton and expects the superstar's next contract to be a full 7-year extension. Not another short-term deal. Not a temporary commitment. A 7-year extension. The maximum term available under the league's upcoming rules. That's a massive statement, and it immediately forced people to reconsider everything they've been assuming about this situation. Because if Stauffer is right, then the popular belief that McDavid has one foot out the door might be completely wrong. This isn't just some random opinion floating around social media. Stauffer has spent years around the organization. He has relationships inside the team. He understands the internal climate better than most people covering the sport. When he speaks confidently about the Oilers, people pay attention. That's what makes this so fascinating. For years, the hockey world has treated McDavid's departure as a countdown clock. Every playoff exit supposedly moved him closer to leaving. Every organizational mistake supposedly pushed him further toward free agency. Yet, according to someone who would likely know, McDavid's commitment to Edmonton may be stronger than outsiders realize. And honestly, there are reasons to believe it. Despite all the pressure and frustration, McDavid has never publicly hinted at wanting out. He has consistently supported the organization. He has invested years of his career into trying to bring a championship back to the city. And from a personal standpoint, Edmonton has become home. But that's only one side of the story. The other side is where things get complicated Because loyalty and confidence are not the same thing. McDavid can love Edmonton and still have concerns about the direction of the franchise. And recently, some of the decisions being discussed around the organization have generated serious debate. The biggest example involves the coaching search. Reports linking Mike Babcock to Edmonton immediately created controversy across the hockey community. Babcock's coaching record is undeniable. His reputation off the ice is what creates the concern. Following the circumstances surrounding his departure from Columbus, many fans questioned whether bringing him into the organization would be the right move. And, according to various reports, players have been involved in conversations surrounding the coaching decision. That alone tells you how important this moment is. The Oilers are no longer making decisions in a vacuum. Every move now gets evaluated based on one standard. Does this help maximize Connor McDavid's championship window? Because make no mistake, that window isn't endless. McDavid is still one of the best players in the world, but time moves quickly in professional sports. Every season that passes is another opportunity gone. Every playoff disappointment becomes harder to ignore. And that's why his current contract situation remains so important. The next 2 years will reveal everything. Not just about McDavid, about the organization, the front office, the leadership, the vision, the culture. By the end of that period, Connor McDavid will know exactly what kind of future exists in Edmonton. He'll know whether management made the right choices. He'll know whether the roster is truly capable of winning a championship. And perhaps most importantly, he'll know whether the people running the organization are aligned with the same goal that has driven him throughout his entire career. Winning. That's why Stauffer's comments matter so much. They offer hope to Oilers fans. They suggest that McDavid isn't secretly preparing an exit strategy. They suggest that he still believes in what Edmonton can become. But belief alone isn't enough. A 7-year extension won't be signed because of optimism. It won't be signed because of good intentions. It won't be signed because fans want it to happen. It will be signed if Connor McDavid feels convinced that his best chance to win multiple Stanley Cups remains in Edmonton. That's the challenge facing the organization right now. The player is already there. The hardest part has been solved. Generational talents like Connor McDavid don't come around often. The real question is whether the people around him can build something worthy of that talent before the opportunity slips away. Because if Bob Stauffer is right, the Oilers aren't fighting to keep Connor McDavid. They're fighting to prove that his faith in them is justified. And over the next 12 months, we'll find out whether that faith was placed in the right hands.